welcome back to One Shot, One Quill, a show where my co-host talks over my intros and I make fart sounds when he explains how the show works. I'm Spencer. That's Ben. And we're a tabletop podcast, but the specifics of it I really can't articulate because I'm terrible at it, which is why I leave that to my co-host. Ben, how does this show work?
You know, you would think that when I burp in the beginning of your intro that we would maybe restart.
And lose all the progress? I said so many syllables by that point.
Anyway,
my tongue's all tied.
This is a podcast in which we take random ideas for a plot, random ideas for items, for a tabletop role-playing game. Oof. A tabletop role-playing game. We mission mash them together. We, at the end, come out with something that hopefully will be a good starting point for you to make your own, or not make your own, but finish it. And then send it to us and we'll sell it. That doesn't happen, but imagine if that was the end of the intro, was you can do the rest of the work and then we'll profit from it.
Ben, I so wish I could join you on the riff. I nearly puked in the middle of your intro for some reason. Oh, God. I'm better now. Oh, Bud Light nearly assassinated me. I like how I was giving you shit for a minor burp and then fate just garroted me.
Yeah.
For your turn. Do you want to roll me a 1 through 15 for one of our premises?
I really expected you to say you want to restart this one, but no, I'll roll.
You could also call me an ambulance preemptively. That'd be welcomed.
Oh, 911 is already dialed, my friend. But in the meantime, I rolled a 14.
14. The party gets word that a local cave is acting beyond the rules of the material plane. Bandits live there, and when slain, they come back to life a week later, as if nothing's happened. People who sneak into the cave report seeing the bandits walking into walls, having conversations with each other, but it all seems weirdly off. Staggered, like they're mind-controlled, or as if they aren't mentally there. This comes from Andy. Thank you, Andy. And, this is, in case it's not clear...
I like this because unlike some of the prompts that we've had in the past, doesn't give us any indication of what's going on in the cave.
Well, I want you to take a stab at it then, because I do know the author's intent behind this.
Well, I mean, I think there are, like, 2 ideas that you could go with here.
Okay. Let's start with the second one.
Okay, the second one is that this cave is just fucking bonkers and weird. The second one wasn't as good. The first one was better, but it's too late for that.
Yeah, you heard my subliminal instructions, which was start with the second one and don't do the first one at all.
No, the first one was that there was some sort of like temporal anomaly going on here.
And that's pretty much dead on. Now, do you want to know the original author's intent? Because it's tangential to what you've pitched.
Sure.
Andy was going for Bethesda dungeon vibes.
I see.
Yeah. So temporal anomaly is definitely a way to put it. The Divine Creator really needed this one out the door, and not enough time to play test it. And they're running on an engine that's just 5 games old at this point. So we've got a temporal anomaly that's fucking up this cave. Some brave adventurers have peeked in and seen people having disjointed conversation. I'm picturing the Oblivion dialogue engine where 2 random NPCs can come up. Hello, how are you today?
How about the weather? Have you heard of the gray fox?
Nothing I'd like to talk about.
Goodbye.
Be seeing you.
Hello.
What about some items? What do we squeeze into this to make a little bit of a? There's not much of a plot here yet, so like.
Yeah, I think the first thing we're probably going to go with is a 4 on that list of items.
A harbor town, which is landlocked, All right, I'm already noticing this is back from when there really weren't a lot of rules for submissions. And we got 50 of them from Jack. A harbor town which is landlocked. Denizens of the town can travel by land boat. They live off of landfish, which aimlessly flop around the landscape. Those who walk around the land and are seen by the land boatmen are treated like Messiah. Land boatmen, upon touching the ground, quickly and comically submerge like a stone as if it were actually liquid. I don't want to invite Jack onto the show anymore.
I mean, we can make it work, I guess.
So item number 1 is a landlocked harbor town. What's item number 2?
What about a 14?
The Holdfast Whip. This whip is made with an immovable rod as the handle and a 1-inch ball bearing at the end. When the handle is activated, the ball bearing will be frozen in place, leaving the rest of the whip flexible. The whip has a range of 10 feet. So I'm picturing like you whoosh-ah, activate the little ball bearing. Hang on. When it says 1-inch ball bearing at the end. So at the end of the cord. So you could swing from it, ostensibly, right? Like you could whip, freeze it in the air, and then...
See. I was trying to figure out what because in my mind, I was like, great, I can hit them with the ball bearing at the end of the whip, press the button, and then when they get back up, I'll be like, you see that? That's the exact moment that ball bearing hit you in the face. It's immortalized for all time.
Sounds like a really mean demonstration by like a 9th grade physics professor at Yonder Wizard Academy. You know, like the ones that like do the bowling ball pendulum and they're like, look, I'll hold it in front of my face and then let go and it's not going to hit my nose. Like that, but you get to beat up students.
What would we can't go into this, but just
no, we really can't.
Imagine a physics classroom in Dungeons and Dragons type universe.
Oh yeah, because it's from a better era when you could, fly by the seat of your pants for how physics works, and also hurt children.
Everyone knows that an action has an equal and opposite reaction unless, of course, you have an immovable rod or some other thing that is an immovable rod but a different thing.
Physics classes at Wizard Academy is 1% the known laws of physics, and 99% every known exception thanks to magic. Every fucking one of them. The law of thermodynamics fucking shattered by firebolt. Imagine being halted by a ball bearing of all things. If you put that in front of, like, a monk who was moving at superhuman speeds, like, I don't want to get into the math of the fastest a D&D 5e character could run if you spec'd it, but, like...
over the speed of sound.
If you put this immovable ball bearing in front of that character running at, like, Mach 5...
They're dead.
They just did a gun.
They're dead.
Did a gun, but in reverse, right? They ran into the bullet at bullet speeds.
Yeah.
Is that? Just saying. This is also your counter to any fast enemy.
This is your counter to the turtle from last week.
I'm trying to put 200% of the show's weight on this item and not the landlocked harbor town, Ben. That's what's happening.
Okay, so I think. Let's just get into it. The landlocked harbor town, that's when you know shit's fucked up.
That's the tone setter.
That is the beginning. You're like, this is weird because other people think that we're weird for walking on land and they fall through the floor.
I have a thought here, which is the harbor town obviously is demonstrating some kind of physics glitch.
Mm-hmm.
What if this whole region, the cave included, is a giant bugged Bethesda world?
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, like you were gonna put down. Wow, I played 500 hours of that game and I couldn't think of one coastal city. Fuck, Dawnstar. You took
Stars.
There you go.
One Solitude's one.
Yeah,
Solitude's the one where Ulfric is one that I can't remember the name of.
Is it?
Yeah,
Windhold.
Yeah, it's on the coast. Like that. That's how you get to the.
Oh yeah, because there's like a bay that's. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So,
thanks for joining us for an examination of coastal cities.
I was
in
so
Skyrim.
hoping a joke would come out of that, but nope. So you've taken the schematics of a harbor town, and someone just the gods accidentally pasted this one or relocated it like 500 leagues to the right. Mm-hmm. And oh shit, I'm in the middle of the continent. And the townsfolk just don't understand that anything's wrong. This is life for them. So when the adventurers come in and they're coded to be walking across land and not swimming through it, they're like, holy shit, gods among men, we worship you.
Mm-hmm. Tods among men.
There it is. We found the joke. So what's a plot here? I mean,
I have to imagine it's just, if we're going with this, it's just a normal, they go to the town, probably the town's fucked up in some way where like the NPCs just, drop out of conversation to walk and do something else or something like that. But if you can get to the end of the conversation, it's just a standard, the bandits have stolen my goats. Please go and take care of the bandits and get my goats back. That's the quest. But it's all fucky.
Okay, I love this. So the adventurers coming in have a very basic quest, yeah? Go get my fucking goat, or like, I don't know, go get this flower to cure my sick daughter, or go into Bleak Falls Barrow and get the Dragonstone. The problem is, the quest is nigh impossible to achieve because all of the relevant characters and items are bugged as fuck and clipping through the floor. My thought here, this is where the real adventure comes in. You are going through an exercise of incredible patience where you have, like, it's almost a Groundhog Day because it resets every 7 days, right?
Yeah.
So you keep going through this time loop of like, fuck, I know the shepherd is the last guy that knows where the sheep went. So I need to catch him, but every day he clips into his furnace and dies.
I think that if you were running this as a one-shot, this has gotten very Groundhog Day. If you're running this as a one-shot, you gotta make it so that, like, the moment they get whatever the goat or necklace or whatever is, the moment they get it and walk out, it just disappears and is back in there because the end of the 7 days and then they go to the town again and everyone has forgotten them and just once again sending them on this quest.
So that's like the feudal worst case ending.
And maybe this first time, like, half the bandits are already dead, so they don't feel totally cheated out of doing all this stuff in the cave. Like, someone got halfway through and then, you find their skull in the cave.
I'm just thinking, like, how do you beat a Bethesda game? The big reason I'm thinking, how do you beat a bugged that? Yes, correct. You ask for your refund.
Install the unofficial patch.
Which exists for nigh on every Bethesda game, and it's twice the fucking download size. The reason this jumped into my head was I saw a Reddit post earlier this week from someone was playing Halo Combat Evolved for the first time, old 2001 fucking game, and fall damage in that was weird. It was like there was a known threshold of like past 50 feet or something. That's where the fall kills you. But that's where the fall timer kills you, I should say. But in this person's case, their game had quick saved and they kept falling to their death. The Redditors were telling them, okay, no, we're gonna, because the guy was like, please, this keeps happening. I don't want to restart my whole progress on the level. How do I stop this? And someone was like, all right, now hear me out. You need to take your control stick and I need you to move your character. Go from the top of it being 0 degrees, you got to go 30 degrees. And you're going to hold crouch just before you hit this rock. And that's going to trick the level geometry. What if we apply this beat the system logic, beat the broken system logic to that whip? So, like, I know that the critical quest giver or the critical quest character clips through this thing by this point in the day. It becomes a race against the clock of, like, acrobatics checks, athletics to clear the town in enough time. You then have to whip of Holdfast, chuck the bead to be right past him, pull the whip taut, that way he can't touch the edge of the wall. And you hold him in place and you're like, quick, someone hit E and talk to him.
And then I think that I think that it's got to be the way that you get through it is by fixing enough of it that I think eventually you fix enough of it and then the town disappears. It goes back to where it's supposed to be.
Do they have any memory of the people that saved them? Like, is there going to be a statue in that town forever of the...
Probably. I think you Westworld them out of their loop, and then they're officially realized again.
Thank God, because if they were stuck in the land boatman ideology and they ended up near water, I shudder to imagine what would happen. I don't think they're ready for that one.
So let's just brainstorm real quick. You can keep the guy who the shepherd is what you said. You can keep him from falling into his furnace.
Yeah. So yeah, like by say noon on day one, he's gonna fall into his furnace, and the loop starts within like maybe 15-20 minutes to spare. So you got to haul ass across town. That's perfect for your fucking take everything you would use for a chase scene and use those mechanics.
I think one thing that definitely has to happen that you have to figure out is that the quest giver probably, let's say they accidentally walk onto a board wrong and get flung up into the air before falling to their death.
Yes, because there is a small hammer that they step on, and the geometry clips between their foot and the floorboard and the hammer. So you got to move that hammer by 2:00. So help me God.
The mayor of the town drowns. So you got to keep that from happening, just because otherwise...
Yeah, he steps off his land boat. You see him wait. Players can catch him from a distance, from a high vantage point. They can see him waiting in the cornfield for just a few minutes before he finally sinks. A few bubbles come up. But you don't know he's there until you get a high vantage. You gotta go to the top of the windmill or some shit. So you find out where he went. He drowns. What about this Bandit Cave? There's got to be something in that, right? Like,
I think one of the things is that you've got to get. There's two bandits in there who are having a conversation with each other, but from like across the cave, and you've got to figure out a way to non-lethally get them both into the same place.
I like that. I also like, on a similar vein, the two NPCs are scripted to be having a conversation that's like obvious exposition that explains maybe where the mayor went or some shit. But since they're on opposite sides of the town, you only get one side of the conversation. So you got to run the loop twice and piece together what the conversation is. From this one guy facing a duck pond and another man who's in bed talking into his pillow.
I think another one is probably that there is like a bandit who is supposed to be walking to pick something up, but that thing is on the other, like in another room. And so he walks into a wall for 10 minutes before falling through the floor. And you've got to move that thing into the bandit's room so that he can get it.
Because once he gets it, what happens?
Then it's a vial of poison, and he's not very smart. He drinks it.
Yes. Okay. So the bandit problem's taking care of itself, it sounds like. What if the Bandit Cave is where you're supposed to get the Whip of Holdfast? This useful item that, like, I'm imagining once you get it, maybe any item you get into your inventory can stay there. Even if the time loops. So once you get this Bandit Whip of Holdfast from the end boss chest, which takes a 20 perception check because it is slightly stuck in the floor.
Oh, I think the other thing is that the boss of this Bandit Cave, he's got to have something important on him. And the other thing, which literally happened to me with the final boss of the final DLC in Skyrim, after beating him on the hardest difficulty way under level, he just falls through the floor when you kill him, just slightly underneath. But to where you can't get to him.
So long as we're sharing, easily my worst Bethesda glitch I ever saw was in the remastered Skyrim. I did Meridia's Beacon, and I believe part of the conclusion of that quest line is you go up to the skybox. Like you're hovering 200 feet off the ground, and you're talking to Meridia, and then eventually she's like, thanks for popping that pussy. Anyway, I'm going to set you back down now. And you are supposed to be gently descended / fast travel back to the ground. But in my game, the floor just disappeared. And about 2 seconds after the quick save, you just fucking fall to your death. Like 300 feet. Just looped infinitely. Could not fucking figure out what to do with that.
I was really expecting you to say that when you get right near where you're supposed to fast travel, it just pops up with there are enemies nearby, and then you fall to your death.
Like, oh god, one mud crab got brought all the way up to the sky there.
Oh, that's going to be our little cherry on top, I think, is that the other big issue with this quest is that unless there are enemies nearby, you can't long rest.
I know it's the cherry on top, but can I be like the sprinkle on the cherry on the top?
Yeah, the bad sprinkle on the cherry.
So when you're trying to like redeem the quest, when you're trying to finish it off, the quest giver, let's say it's the shepherd or the mayor or something, you can't seem to talk to him. He keeps looping the same 4 phrases. They seem like combat phrases. And he's running into the corner of the room. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Is that all you've got? Come on.
You never should have come here.
You're going to regret this. And he's running into the corner of the room that he's in. What's happening is you need to go outside the house, go out to the opposite side of the wall, where you're going to find a really small chipmunk that he's gone aggro against, and you have to kill that before he can go back to a talkable state.
Oh, and the cherry on top of the sprinkle on top of the cherry is that it is imperative that while DMing this, you do just randomly play battle music. There is no fight. You do not roll initiative, but you do turn on the battle music at random intervals, and then at other intervals, you just turn it back off again.
Holy shit, what do we call this one?
I'm thinking Skyrim 2, Todd's Mistake.
If you guys are playing on a VTT, call it Skyrim Roll20 edition, or Foundry VTT edition, or Skyrim Specialer edition.
The official Skyrim RPG.
Thank you so much for listening to One Shot, One Quill, a tabletop fantasy role-playing podcast writer's room where we're... you know what? Judge, I don't know if we know what we're doing.
This one we're just ripping on Skyrim, I think.
And again, thank God for our originality, for being the first people to point out not a well-constructed game.
No one's ever noticed that there are bugs in Bethesda games, and I think that's real weird.
Isn't it weird how we're like the Oedipus of all thoughts? Ben, do you want to thank the people?
Thank you for joining us here on the Origin of All Thoughts. We accept suggestions, much like the cave with the bandits in it. You can send those to us for either items or premises at DNDpod. That's DNDPOD. What else? Our theme song is Alla Tavera del Goulier by Morgan the Bard. He is currently in life's Skyrim, which is the afterlife.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Skyrim's where we go when we die. And right now,
no.
Morgan is Morgan's stuck in Bleak Falls Barrow because he can't get the Fus Rodash shout out of the wall. It's just his screen went high saturated, really blurry. The guys are just shouting over and over again. He sounds the sound of rushing wind, but it's not. Fus Rodah not learned.
You just can't get close enough.
You just can't get but like never learns the shout.
As always,
Can't
we come
see
out
anything.
every Tuesday. You can find us where podcasts are, except for I found out on Samsung Podcasts, because they only have like 8 podcasts on there.
Yep, we are not one of the official. Someday we'll be in there. Someday. We're in the Gen 2 Samsung Pokedex. Good one.
I'm not even going to say is it too late to redo this one. This one was gold.
Never should have come here. Hello. Be seeing ya.
Goodbye.